Welcome to the UMBC Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Steve Levy. Once again, for the second straight year, we're thrilled to be filming this right on the campus of UMBC, and the wonderful students of the MCS 395 class. They're doing everything here, making Coach Blanchard and myself look as good as we can possibly look. But thank you to Bill Shoebridge and his class for doing these Coach's Corners. And Coach, it doesn't seem hardly like a year since we were on this very set talking volleyball, but 2015 is upon us, and you guys are already a month into your season.
Yeah, it feels like it's longer than a month at this point. You know, considering we were in preseason back in August. Girls are working hard. It's been a fun time so far. We got a really young team, but it's been very enjoyable.
For those who don't know you, Coach Blanchard, I think upon first meeting, you make no bones about it. You don't hide the fact, a native New Englander. I think when people think of New England, maybe they don't think of volleyball right off the bat. How did you really first get into the sport from a playing and then from a coaching standpoint?
That's interesting. I'm very proud of my New England heritage, of course. You know, it's interesting. Most people don't realize this, but volleyball was established in Holyoke, Massachusetts, back in the 1800s. That was where it was invented. I got involved. I've spent all my summers in Maine. And I started playing beach volleyball when I was like 7 or 8 years old. They wouldn't let me play. You know, they were like, "You're too small, kid. You know, you can't play." And then by the time I got to college, they're like, "You're playing too hard now. Now you can't play anymore either." But I just started playing when I was really young on the beach. That's how I drew a love to volleyball very early on.
And when, you know, obviously you said you played collegiately. When did kind of coaching come into your mindset that this is something you might want to do as a career, and then obviously, you know, doing it at the collegiate level?
It's an interesting journey. I start off as a high school coach and club coach. You know, I was still playing volleyball during the summers because I was a school teacher, and they needed somebody to coach volleyball, so I decided to volunteer to do it, and I really started to enjoy it. I felt like I could still stay competitive. I could still be within this competitive arena, and then eventually I coached. I had the great fortune of coaching some really amazing young athletes. That allowed us to be very successful in high school, at Delaney High School, and also with my club team. We went all the way to the national championships with my club team, and it just evolved. And then I met a guy named Carl McGowan who has become my mentor. He was the head coach at BYU. He's also been the national team technical advisor for the last 35 years or so, and he was kind of, you know, pushing me in that direction. Had to get permission from my wife to do it. Eventually I took an assistant coach job at Towson, and then I ended up at UMBC full time.
So now this is your 11th year at UMBC. Talk about some of your greatest memories from being at UMBC. I got to imagine the 2010 and 2013 teams, which both played in the Americas Championships, happens to be at the top of the list. And certainly the 13 team, which came so close to winning that Americas title, has to be one of your fondest, yet kind of a bittersweet memory, I guess.
Yeah, you know, when we beat Albany in the semifinal, that was probably the absolute peak. I mean, we had such a great game plan for that match. We really handled them pretty easily in that match. We swept them 3-0, and then for the season we had swept Albany all 3 matches that we had played them. Right. So that was really one of the best memories in terms of coaching. But, you know, some of my best memories are actually taking the team to Maine, giving the girls the experience of going to Long Beach and going out to the beaches of California. And last year we went to Provo, Utah. We got a chance to play against BYU, who ended up in the national championship final. Right. And we went tubing down the Provo River. Wow. And so just giving these athletes this unbelievable experience of being able to experience all of the United States and all it has to offer it's been awesome. And you know, through volleyball, I've been all over the world. I've been to Brazil, I've been to Israel, I've been to Europe. I've been to Morocco. I did a coaching clinic in Morocco last year. So, you know, it's kind of cliche when you say that sport's been very good to me, but I think I've gotten much more out of volleyball than volleyball's gotten out of me.
You could talk for probably about 10 minutes about this, but we'll try to condense it. You know, if you can kind of talk about the team dynamic this year from a cultural standpoint. You have several young ladies from Puerto Rico, and just from a depth standpoint and a youth standpoint, you got a lot of moving parts there. You know, but overall, in your first month, you know, how do you think it's going?
I think it's going well. I mean, we're going through the ups and downs of having a younger team. We have 11 freshmen. At several points during the season so far, we've had 6 freshmen on the floor at one time. And anytime you have that kind of an experience, you're going to have your share of really, really high moments and some lower moments as well. But I think the most important thing is that we're improving all the time. The team has great team chemistry. The locker room is great. You know, the girls are really enjoying each other's company. They just had a team dinner over the weekend. So I really feel like we're going in the right direction culturally. It's fun having, you know, 4 girls from Puerto Rico on the team. Every once in a while, they'll start bantering back and forth with each other in Spanish, and everybody else on the team is like, "What's going on?" But it's really fun, and I love what they're bringing to the table as well. And in fact, other than the state of Maryland, Puerto Rico is the highest concentration of people we have on the team right now.
Right, right. Finally, Coach, you know, when this airs, you'll kind of be in the home stretch of your season. I know for you that home crowd is so important. You have a couple real big matches in November. Obviously, those matches are huge because you're playing for playoff positioning. But how much do your girls, do you guys feed off that home crowd energy from the RAC arena?
Oh, it's great. I mean, the RAC gets so loud. It gets so, you know, the crowd really gets into it. It's almost like having a 7th person on the floor with us. The girls love playing in front of that crowd. I think the first time we played, you know, at home, it was a little bit nerve-wracking for some of our younger players because they're like in front of their home crowd for the first time, but they love it. It'll be really nice to not be on the road at the very end of the year as well, so that we're really looking forward to. So, you know, we've had this little stretch right here in the beginning where we've been on the road for a few weeks. We're really excited about being home. Well,
Coach, certainly we appreciate the visit and best of luck on the 2015 season.
Thank you very much.
Once again, the ladies have a couple big games down the stretch. We want to point out that weekend of November 13th and 15th, the final 2 home matches. I'm sure the Retrievers will be playing for playoff positions, so get out and support the team all year long, especially that weekend. You can catch the whole schedule on UMBCRetrievers.com. For the UMBC Coaches Corner, I'm Steve Levy.